For years, people kept saying that Linux would finally become the dominant operating system. Every year, the same debate returned, with some people believing it, others dismissing it, and many assuming Linux would always remain a niche platform for programmers and technology enthusiasts. But in 2026, something has clearly changed. Linux is winning, yet not in the way most people expected. It hasn't taken over because everyone abandoned Windows or macOS. Instead, Linux has quietly become the invisible foundation of the modern digital world, and that's the real reason behind its success. The biggest mistake people make is measuring Linux solely by its desktop market share. Years ago, desktop computers were the center of computing, so whichever operating system dominated PCs was considered the winner. But technology has evolved far beyond desktops. Today, people spend more time using cloud services, smartphones, streaming platforms, artificial intelligence, smart devices, and online applications than traditional desktop software. When viewed from this broader perspective, Linux is already everywhere. Every time you stream a movie, upload files to the cloud, ask an AI assistant a question, shop online, use digital banking, or browse social media, Linux is likely working behind the scenes. Most users never interact with Linux directly, but countless online services depend on it. Ironically, Linux became more successful by becoming invisible. Instead of focusing on what people see on their personal computers, Linux became the operating system powering the infrastructure that makes the internet function. Cloud computing is one of the biggest reasons Linux has become so dominant. Companies today rely on massive data centers instead of maintaining expensive local servers. These cloud platforms need operating systems that are reliable, secure, scalable, and highly customizable. Linux consistently delivers all of these qualities while allowing companies to optimize performance for millions of users. Even small improvements in efficiency can save technology companies millions of dollars every year, making Linux the obvious choice for large-scale infrastructure. The rapid growth of artificial intelligence has strengthened Linux even further. Modern AI systems require enormous computing clusters filled with powerful GPUs working together continuously. Nearly every major AI company builds these systems on Linux because the operating system offers unmatched flexibility, stability, and hardware compatibility. Developers can customize nearly every part of Linux to maximize AI performance, something that's much harder to achieve with proprietary operating systems. As AI continues expanding into every industry, Linux becomes even more important because it already serves as the default environment for AI development and deployment. Developers have also changed the way software is built. Years ago, applications were created specifically for Windows, macOS, or Linux desktops. Today, most software runs in web browsers, cloud servers, virtual machines, or containers. Even developers using Windows or Mac computers often work inside Linux environments through remote servers or cloud platforms. As a result, Linux has become an essential tool for software engineering rather than an optional operating system. New generations of programmers learn Linux naturally during their education and careers, strengthening its position even further. Open-source software is another major factor behind Linux's success. In the past, businesses often viewed open-source projects as unreliable or unsuitable for enterprise use. That perception has completely changed. Today, some of the world's biggest technology companies actively contribute to Linux because collaboration produces faster innovation and better software. Thousands of developers, companies, and researchers improve Linux together, creating a continuous cycle of innovation that benefits everyone. Unlike proprietary operating systems controlled by a single company, Linux evolves through global collaboration. Security has also become increasingly important. Cyberattacks continue growing more sophisticated every year, forcing governments, financial institutions, hospitals, and businesses to prioritize secure infrastructure. Linux isn't immune to vulnerabilities, but its open development model allows security experts worldwide to inspect the source code, discover weaknesses, and fix them quickly. Organizations that value transparency often prefer Linux because they can examine exactly how the system works rather than relying entirely on closed software. Another major strength of Linux is its incredible hardware flexibility. Unlike many operating systems designed for specific devices, Linux runs on almost everything. It powers tiny embedded chips, smart home devices, routers, smartphones, industrial robots, autonomous vehicles, enterprise servers, supercomputers, and even satellites. Few operating systems can adapt to such a wide variety of hardware, allowing Linux to expand into industries that didn't even exist when it was first created. Energy efficiency has become another important advantage. AI data centers, cloud servers, and edge computing devices consume enormous amounts of electricity. Linux allows engineers to remove unnecessary components, optimize performance, and reduce power consumption for specialized workloads. Even small efficiency improvements become extremely valuable when multiplied across thousands or millions of devices, making Linux highly attractive for organizations seeking both financial savings and environmental sustainability. Gaming has also experienced a dramatic transformation. For years, gaming was considered one of Linux's weakest areas because many popular games were unavailable. However, improvements in compatibility tools, graphics drivers, and gaming platforms have changed that situation. Thousands of Windows games now run successfully on Linux, making it a realistic option for gamers. Portable gaming devices using Linux have also introduced millions of people to the operating system without requiring technical knowledge or manual installation. Governments around the world have begun recognizing the importance of digital independence. Relying entirely on proprietary software controlled by foreign companies creates strategic risks. Linux provides transparency, customization, and greater control over national technology infrastructure. Many governments now support Linux-based initiatives to reduce dependence on single vendors while improving long-term security and flexibility. Education has quietly contributed to Linux's growth as well. Universities teaching computer science, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and networking frequently use Linux throughout their courses. Students entering technology careers already understand Linux before receiving their first professional jobs. As these graduates become engineers and decision-makers, Linux naturally becomes part of the systems they build and manage. Edge computing represents another growing opportunity. Instead of sending every piece of information to distant cloud servers, many devices now process data locally for faster performance. Factories, hospitals, transportation systems, retail stores, and smart cities increasingly rely on edge computing powered by Linux because it combines strong networking capabilities with excellent hardware compatibility and stability. Many people assume Linux wins simply because it's free, but that's only part of the story. Large organizations don't choose operating systems based solely on licensing costs. They prioritize reliability, scalability, automation, security, and long-term flexibility. Linux consistently performs well across all these categories, making it an attractive business decision even beyond cost savings. Automation has become another major reason Linux dominates enterprise infrastructure. Modern businesses automate software deployment, server management, security updates, and cloud operations. Linux integrates naturally with scripting languages, automation frameworks, and DevOps workflows, allowing organizations to reduce manual work while improving consistency and reliability. Automation has become central to modern IT, and Linux is perfectly suited for it. Containers have revolutionized software development by allowing applications to run consistently across different environments. Most container technologies were originally designed around Linux, making it the preferred platform for cloud-native development. Even organizations using Windows desktops often deploy Linux containers to production servers because the ecosystem is more mature and efficient. Startups have also helped expand Linux's influence. New companies need flexible, scalable, and affordable technology that allows rapid growth. Linux removes licensing barriers while providing powerful development tools and cloud compatibility. Many startups begin their journey using Linux infrastructure and continue building upon it as they grow into successful businesses. Another growing advantage is user trust. Increasing concerns about privacy, forced updates, subscription models, and vendor lock-in have encouraged many individuals and organizations to seek alternatives. Linux offers greater transparency and control, allowing users to customize their systems without depending entirely on the decisions of a single corporation. Artificial intelligence has also made Linux easier to learn. Beginners once struggled with complex terminal commands and configuration files, but AI-powered assistants can now explain commands, solve errors, generate scripts, and provide real-time guidance. This significantly lowers the learning curve and encouraged more people to explore Linux confidently. Linux communities remain one of its greatest strengths. Thousands of online forums, documentation projects, tutorials, And open-source communities provide free support and educational resources. Problems solved by one user often become solutions for thousands of others, continuously improving the overall ecosystem. Perhaps the strongest evidence of Linux's success is its dominance in scientific computing. Nearly every one of the world's fastest supercomputers runs Linux, because researchers require maximum performance, customization, and scalability. Scientific simulations, medical research, climate modeling, space exploration, and advanced engineering all rely heavily on Linux-based systems. The most surprising aspect of Linux's rise is that it no longer needs to dominate desktop computers to dominate computing itself. The world has changed. Computing now extends across cloud infrastructure, AI systems, embedded devices, industrial automation, online services, and billions of connected machines. Linux positioned itself at the center of this transformation, becoming the invisible operating system powering much of modern technology. That is the real reason Linux is winning in 2026. It didn't achieve success by replacing Windows or macOS on every personal computer. Instead, it quietly became the backbone of the internet, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, enterprise infrastructure, scientific research, and countless smart devices. Most people may never realize they're using Linux every day, but they depend on it constantly. Rather than competing for attention, Linux became the silent engine driving the digital world, proving that true success isn't always measured by what users see on their screens, but by the technology working reliably behind the scenes.